Welcome. Today we're going to be considering the eyes in Tkinter today. So we're going to learn how to make blinking. So we want to start with importing Tkinter. So we go from Tkinter, import all. Remember the star symbol, the asterisk symbol is all. And we need to set up our root. Root equals tk, lowercase for the k. And then we want to set up our geometry, root.geometry, and always use IntelliSense if you can. And we'll start with something really small, so 300 times 300. We're going to set up our main loop, so root.mainLoop. But let's test that it works. There is an error. So what's our error? Our error is the X there. Let's run that. So this is our Tkinter space. We're going to create that as a drawing or canvas. We're going to call this canvas drawing, and a canvas is just the place where we can draw in, and that's going to be in our root, and the width is going to be the same as our geometry. Width equals 300, height equals 300. And again, we want to immediately test that. So firstly, we're going to draw pack, drawing.pack. And we know it's right when this shows. So we're going to create our body, and the body is going to be basically an oval shape. So we're going to go body equals drawing. So within the drawing, dot create, go down to where it says oval, open brackets, and our oval is going to be 0, 0, 300, 300. And it's going to have a fill of light blue. Let's run that. So we've got our basic body of our being. It's basically going to be an eye. We're going to declare some variables. So we're going to start with eye open equals none. That just gives us a value in there, and it's going to be a global variable, so we can actually do this. So we could put up here, declare global variables. So eye is none, open eye is none, pupil equals none, closed eye equals none, and lids closed. So that just declares our variables. The reason we're going to declare our variables at this point is we're going to put them within functions multiple times. So this just helps us initiate variables. Let's define a little program. So we're going to define eyes open. This is eyes open, not eye open. This is the way we define it, and then we actually put some code here. We're going to start with global eye open, so it's already there. Pupil, close eyes, and lids closed. So that just sets them up as variables. That just sets them up so that they are able to be accessed within this little program. Eye open equals drawing dot create oval, and this one's going to be 50, 30, 250, 270, and we're going to fill this with white, and we're going to give it a state. Now we'll talk about state in a moment. So that's going to give us our pupil, our eye. And let's just run this little program. So we're going to go eyes open, and that runs it. So you see, you just grab this part of the code without the colon and without the define, and let's run it and see what. So that program is running this part of the program, and here is the body. We're going to continue with this eyes open, and we're going to add a pupil, and that is going to equal drawing dot create, and it's going to be an oval as well. And this oval is going to be 140 by 130 by 160 by 170. And this fill is going to be black. And again, the state of this is going to be normal. Let's run that and see what that looks like. So now we've got our pupil, we've got our body, we've got our eye. I'm actually just going to now set our state for our closed eye off. And the reason we're doing it there is we want to be able to actually set up our state so it is changed. So close eyes equals drawing, so we're going to actually do a drawing dot create oval, we're going to do a hidden state there. The lid's closed. Let's run that and see if this runs. It should look exactly the same. What I can do is I can now create a different program in it, different function in it, called eyes closed. And we're going to take all of this, copy it, paste it in, and I'm just going to hash this out so it can't run, and I'm going to prove that this works. So I go eyes closed, open brackets, close brackets, and now we're running the eyes closed program, and it should look exactly the same. Okay, so now we're actually going to change those states in the eyes closed. So what we've done is we've got eye open, and you see over here that the state is normal. We're going to change that to state is hidden, and this one is also normal. This is the pupil, and we're going to make the actual this part normal. So anything that was hidden we make normal, and anything that was normal we make hidden. And now when we run it, it should look totally different. There we go. So we've got our lid, and we've got it's like a closed eye. So if I was to run this, it would run the eyes open, and immediately it would run the eyes closed. And that's because it would run it one after the other. So all you would see in that very small time is the eyes closed. Watch, it runs the eyes open, but it's so quick you need a delay. So there we go, it's immediately into the eyes closed position. And I could put a delay in here, but the way we're going to do this, I'm just going to delete that, is that we're going to create a little program called blink. And if I press define blink and I go, all right, so eyes open and then eyes closed, we get the same thing. It's the same problem, right? So eyes closed, open. So if I run blink, it should just show the eyes closed. So let's run blink. And here we go. There it is. It's running blink. So let's have a look at blink and see what we can do. What I can do is I can go right up to the top and I can import time. What this does is it's a library that can deal with time, things over time. And so if I said right here in blink, after eyes open, if I said root dot after, and I go say 3000, and then I run eyes closed, right? I don't have to actually have that there. So if I go running there, it should run the eyes closed after the eyes open after 3 seconds. Let's see how that works. 1, 2, 3. There we go. But it doesn't go back. And you'd think, well, what I could do is then run eyes open after that. So let's run that and see what happens. Closes. But it doesn't open again. You go, why? Well, there's a few reasons why. But one of them is that we need to change the state of things. So rather than using it that method, we can do it a different method. What we need to do is we need to configure the lids closed, the eyes closed, the pupil, the eyes open. And this is why we used global variables before. So I'm going to go in between blink here, and I'm going to create a configuration kind of program. And I'm going to call it my configure or my config. So if I define my config, right, this is where I'm going to set this all up. And of course I need those globals. So I'm just going to grab those globals in there. So there's my globals. And then I'm going to say drawing dot item config and use item config. There it is. And what am I going to config? I'm going to config the closed eyes as, and what is it? It's going to be the state, is equal to hidden. Okay, so we're going to hide the actual closed eyes part. And then we're going to go drawing. So I'm just going to copy all of this and I'm just going to change this in here. So drawing item config, and in here I'm going to say lids closed, which is this one up here. And that's going to be hidden as well. And then I'm going to get the pupil and I'm going to make that normal. So I'm just going to change this again to pupil, spelled exactly the same way up here. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but this time it's going to be the eye open. Okay, so that's going to change the config. So if I now go down here, I can have my eyes open. I can then close those. And then down here, I can say root dot after 3,500 my config. So I'm going to run the my config after 3,500 milliseconds. And so that should change it. So let's run it. 1, 2, 3, and then it opens up again. But all it does is keep it open from then on. So that's actually done what we want it to. So now what we could do is we could run that blink program, this very one, again. And so if I go root dot after 4,000 blink. And so let's run this. And it's continuing to blink. But our eyes don't blink in this manner. They don't blink for X amount of seconds and then blink again. They are not as structured as that. They don't go for 2.5 milliseconds and then close it and then go again for 2.5 milliseconds. Now, I want you to understand something up here. The root dot after. That root dot after is 3 seconds after the root starts, and then this is 3,500 milliseconds after the root starts, and then this is 4,000 after the root starts. So what this means is that this is independent of this, which is independent of this. So if I said that this was 3,000, it would run both at the same time. And that's not what we want. But it helps us understand what's going on. Now, we can import random. So that's another library that we can use. So if I go import random, and this gives us access to all the random function. And I'm going to use random in here rather than 3,000, 3,500, and 4,000. Now this is 500 different to this one, and this one's 500 different to this one. So let's have a look at how we can do this. Just above in blink, I can say random blink is equal to random. We're using the random function or the random functionality, and we're going to say the rand range. So this is how the range between 2,000 milliseconds and 5,000 milliseconds, right? This will set this random blink to some number between 2,000 and 5,000. It'll be randomly. It could be 3,555, and the next time when it runs it, it could be 2,300. So we're going to use this little thing here, a random blink, and we're going to replace it in here. So it's going to go at least 2,000. And then this one over here, we want to add 500 to that. And then this one, we want to add 1,000 to it. So what this means is that it will come up with some kind of number, and then it will continue that same number plus 500 and that same number plus 1,000. And then it will run back to random again and change the number, and it will do the same thing. So let's run that. It's certainly got a much better flavour there. And that's the end of the video.